As we start to move into the conversation around the study, which, like I said at the top, was very much focused around these kind of joint pillars of field service at the moment. You know, the customer centricity and the technology, two of the fundamental aspects that are always recurring in conversations that I've been having. Perhaps even more so, probably very similar to yourselves. More so, the conversations that I've been having in the last 18 months when I've been doing various interviews or consultation pieces or other studies have very much been around where we were going, but just wow, the turbo boosters were put on the back of the rocket, and we've just suddenly, the game's changed incredibly. But one of the things I've seen in the last 5 years is this shift. Probably even longer. I think when I first started writing for not even field service news, service management online back in the day before we launched FSN, we'd started to talk about the shift from cost centre to profit centre. I think in the last 5 years that's pretty much become a universal. You know, I think that most service organisations now, there are always exceptions to the rule, but most service organisations now see field services as a profit centre. We know the statistics around the percentages of revenue and the margin on service being a lot higher than they are on product. We've seen the move towards advanced services servitisation, which we're going to touch on a little bit later on. But I think one of the things that's come through on that shift is the emphasis of what defines success within a field service operation. And when I started doing these kind of studies, you know, nearly 10 years ago, doing the various benchmarking pieces, very much what defined success was very operationally driven. It was about taking cost out of the service operation. It was how do we increase our technician utilisation time? You know, how do we reduce screen time? Whereas now what I'm seeing very much is what's defined as success for the service organisations is very much more centred around the customer success rather than that cost reduction. It's around the CSAT scores, and the study absolutely reinforced that. You know, the swing from field service organisations being more customer centric was very evident, and what was really interesting for me was how that was evident within the top line growth strategies. I'll present some of the data on the screen now. So we saw 69% of companies indicated that customer satisfaction is an extremely important metric when it defines their own operational success. I don't think there's any surprise in that, but it's good to see how much that reinforces what I think we all intuitively know. The next three stats, these I found really interesting. 71% of customer satisfaction scores are extremely important for retaining business. Again, I think we would all kind of understand that. 53% of customer satisfaction scores are extremely important for increasing revenue for existing customers. Now, the one that I found particularly interesting is 43% of customers, of field service companies, state that customer satisfaction scores are very important for winning new business. Now, this is something I've been talking about quite a lot, about how the service reputation, the service standard is a key differentiator, and it's interesting to see that almost half of the companies represented, there's about 180 companies we spoke to within the study. It's interesting to see that's really starting to take root. And equally, one final statistic, we saw that just under 2/3, 59% of companies stated that their growth strategies were a mix between growing share of wallet and winning new business. Just to preface that statistic with something that we did earlier this year in a different benchmarking study, we also saw that 72% of service companies, despite all the challenges of the pandemic, were focused on growth rather than consolidation. There was very much an air of optimism, perhaps born out of a year of hardship previously. But there was an air of optimism and an air of growth. This is where we are going to go with the industry as we build this new normal that we keep referring to.